Hello everybody and welcome back into One Nation Weather Forecast for America. And as we start your weekend for here, we've got to look at two big areas of concern as we go into the week ahead. I've got coverage on Area 1, which looks to be a high pressure system into portions of the northwest, and Area 2, which looks to be low pressure and maybe even some cooler air moving back into portions of the east. I've got information on all of that coming up in this video. It is the morning of Saturday, June 3rd, 2023. I hope everybody is doing well whenever you are watching this video. And here's a look at your Saturday morning infrared imagery of Tropical Storm Arlene for here. And you're like, tropical storm, I barely see anything. And yeah, you're pretty much correct here. There's not very much going on. You can at least see kind of the curvature to it that makes it a low pressure system, but not much infrared green colors past green associated with this, and we don't have any reds, whites, or purples to indicate very high thunderstorm activity. So really just a broken system. It has been producing some scattered showers to even widespread showers and storms in the afternoon for portions of Florida. But really, your eyes, when you look at this map, other than seeing Arlene down here into portions of the southern Gulf of Mexico, you really just get drawn to all of this cloud cover in portions of the central Atlantic. That's not tropical. It's just a bunch of activity of thunderstorms, but we're not even really drawn to that system that is going on that actually has the name for us here. And that's because it's really falling down into depression and eventually post-tropical status, making its way to produce some rainfall into portions of Cuba, and it will help to influence some more rainfall for Florida as we go throughout the upcoming week. But for now, let's go ahead and get you a look at your Saturday setup for us here. You can see again Tropical Storm Arlene down there in the southern Gulf of Mexico. We have some of that rain going on into portions of Florida. Really, portions of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia will stay dry in general, but look at how we have this rain kind of coming down the I-95 corridor, moving from the northeast to the southeast for us here, kind of curling around a low-pressure system over the water. That low-pressure system is going to kind of produce some fronts that are going to kind of slide in, and those are actually going to keep things on the cooler side as we go into this week. So the heat wave that's going on for here in portions of the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, that will wind down. We'll keep more of that heat in the Pacific Northwest, but you can see right now we've got plenty of that rain, plenty of the storms, and enough flooding concerns in the plains and portions of Montana where we've been having those issues. 90s continuing for many portions of the east, some mid-90s. It'll feel even hotter with the higher dew points, so make sure you're wearing short sleeves, drinking plenty of water, putting on the sunscreen, because now we're entering that summer season where you can burn very quickly. Look at this, though, 50s to near 60 in portions of the Northeast, 56 in Boston. A very chilly day for the day today for you there. And here's a look at your Saturday temp anomaly. Notice how where that low pressure system is in the southwest, that's where it's kind of cooler. Many communities, though, further north and even into the eastern third of the country, or half of the country for us here, temperatures still well above average for the day today. Now, as we go into portions of Texas and New Mexico and Oklahoma, this is not going to be our highest risk day that we've been seeing over the week, but certainly isolated damaging wind gusts 60 to 65 miles per hour and 1-inch diameter hail possible in today's severe threat. Wouldn't be shocked if this got upgraded to a level 2 and maybe expands a little bit further east, but right now, it looks like this just looks to stay pretty tame, other than, again, a few isolated severe storms. You can see some of these storms developing into eastern Oklahoma and Texas. Those will get going during the early afternoon. Those continue to push off to the east portions of the Arklatex region for us here, getting going into Shreveport, Louisiana as we go towards 8 p.m. Central. Then we look more back off towards the west. These storms, with the daytime heating, having all day to get going, these look to, again, produce that marginal risk for the wind and hail. Notice, though, big explosive storms for there in portions of southern Texas, so we'll keep an eye on those. And then as we go into the overnight hours, winding down pretty quickly for us here. Not as much of an overnight threat, other than with just the lightning and the heavy rainfall. Now, isolated damaging wind gusts 60 miles per hour and isolated large hail around 1 inch in diameter will also be possible in this zone for us here. This includes portions of the southeast Ohio Valley, but also the mid-Atlantic region for us here along the Appalachian chain, going through portions of Pennsylvania all the way on down into Virginia and northern North Carolina. This risk looks to be on the lower side for sure for us here, but as we get energy with this swirling low-pressure system over the water, the northeasterly flow will get some of those storms to push on off towards the south and west, really dissolving as they run into a bunch of the mountains in general. Your Saturday flood risk, again, with the rainfall going into portions of the north and west, the mountain west for us there, as well as into the southern plains. We have 2 level 2 zones to watch out for there, as well as South Florida. And as we go into our Sunday, more of that rainfall going into portions of the Appalachians. We'll see those storms kind of move down the Appalachians from northeast to southwest. Some rain in Florida. Notice, though, we have that stationary front still sitting in the plains, producing some of the precipitation there. Also a little bit wet possibly in portions of the eastern Dakotas and Minnesota, as well as Wisconsin for us there. Notice the heat is still here into many portions of the mid-south and into the upper Midwest. Not quite as intense, but still some 80s and 90s. Look, though, how these 50s and 60s are pushing a little bit further down. We're seeing more 70s getting going along the East Coast. We'll keep an eye on that. As we go into this week, you can see more of the blues in the temperature anomaly there. The temperature's starting to back off for us here in the Midwest, but still very hot in the northern tier. Sunday afternoon storms look like this. Again, a popcorn variety of some of these storms. There is no risk as of your Saturday for us here for your Sunday, but we'll keep an eye on for a level 1 risk. But the flooding looks to be the main concern. Panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, once again, a level 2 flood threat on your Sunday. And then as we go into our Monday, yep, you see that red area, more flooding in that zone. We'll also have some of the rain go all the way down to the Gulf Coast, portions of Alabama, Florida getting in on that. Notice still some rain in Florida. See how this cold front kind of pushed offshore. And we've also got another little sliding cold front that's going to push through, and that's really going to be impactful in terms of the chillier air as well, at least for this time of the year. Slight risk again for that flooding as we go into Monday, coming out of New Mexico and going into portions of Oklahoma and Texas. Just rinse and repeat for you there. But notice how many areas are just around normal in the east, and we have the heat in the northwest and the cooler air in the southwest as we go into our Monday. And the trends that we're going to see building as we go towards midweek, notice how more of the cool air is actually strengthening in the east as we have that strong contrast between the red in the Pacific Northwest and the blue in the eastern and southern zones. Look how the blue really fills up as we go towards Friday. Many zones in the south and eastern part of our country for us here below average as we go towards Friday. The only zones above average right along that northern tier and into the northwest. Now here's what's bringing the chill. A dip in the polar jet stream for us here coming out of Canada. You can see it right there. Those winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, 30, 40,000 feet above our heads for us here. You can see those winds really coming on down out of the north, and we will see those north winds even at the surface at times for us here as that dip comes through, which is why that area is going to have the cooler air above our heads and at the surface. And this area over here where we have the high pressure, that's where it's going to be warmer, and the temperature anomaly just looks like that for the upcoming week. Cooler along the east, cooler in the southwest, and then hottest in the Pacific and northwest and just the north in general. The precipitation trends for this upcoming week looks to bring more of that rainfall right into the bullseye zone for you there in Texas and Oklahoma. Rinse and repeat. While we will have that front pushing through the east, it will be drier than average for many communities as these cold fronts kind of just slide through discreetly in a way. You can see just some of the scattered showers getting going with those fronts. You can really make it out as there is the low pressure system lingering in portions of the north and east. And then more of the precipitation for you there coming out of Montana going down into the plains. Just a rinse and repeat pattern, which is why we'll get many more spots to pick up another 2 to 5 inches of rain, even some locally higher amounts over the 6-day span from Saturday into the upcoming Friday. That will be a concern. You can see low in severe certainty, at least for you here in these zones as well as we go June 5th through June 10th. Thank you so much for watching One Nation Weather Forecast for America. Subscribe, hit the like button, and here are the credits. Have a great weekend, everybody.